Right, in this madcap League Two, which reminds me a bit of the 400-metre hurdles at an Olympics event. It's quick and it can get ugly.
Running round in circles and having to jump every so often.
Yeah, some of the top teams hit the hurdles. Some of them leapt over them gracefully this weekend. This podcast sponsored by Sky Bet and the Sky Bet EFL Building Foundations Fund, taking a look at the greatest fourth tier in world football, where the league leaders, Bromley, with one centre-back sold in January, one centre-back injured in Omar Shomi, two new ones, Medley and Deborah, straight in the last game. But then for this one of them, Medley, ineligible.
Oh, no.
On loan from their hosts, Fleetwood.
Yes.
So they rolled out Byron Webster.
Big Byron, 38.
For his first start in months. And they came from behind and they won in injury time. And George, it's just got that feeling, doesn't it, at Bromley? It's got that feeling. These wins are massive.
Byron Webster had 5 aerial duels. How many do you reckon he won?
2.
Come on, mate, 5.
5 out of 5.
What if it was 2? That would have been like the worst bit of podcasting ever. Like a 40% success rate.
I thought the point was going to be
good maths.
Big Byron's really struggling, and that's why he doesn't play much.
No.
And didn't win any of aerials because he can't jump anymore.
Although fair to say,
but that's completely wrong. It's the opposite.
Bromley did struggle here. This was one of their worst performances of the whole season. Fleetwood were the better team in the first half. Fleetwood's home form for most of the season has been pretty good. They were the better team in the first half, came closest to scoring. A couple of times, Chad Evans had a shot that was saved. Ennis had one that came close. And when they took the lead through Helm, it was what they kind of deserved, with Bromley really struggling to implement their game plan effectively. And I thought from then that Bromley might struggle because it's not a position they've been in loads this season, especially away from home. Now, if we're going to be honest, the goal came... The equaliser from Kabamba.
Kabamba.
But it was Odateo's. I'd love to speak to him about what was meant here, because it was a massive hoof. But it's not often you see a hoof that's taken at the halfway line up against a defensive line that are pretty deep succeed in being like a perfect 50-yard straight ball through to your striker who's going to chest the ball down and score.
I think the wind just carried it perfectly to Kabamba.
Like such a weird assist. And I noticed Odateo was first there to celebrate with Kabamba, sorry. Obviously feeling like he'd played an amazing assist. And fair enough. Jude Arthurs, who I saw after deadline day, was linked with a potential move away. That a few teams were interested over the course of January. He came off the bench at half time here after Bromley's poor first half, and scored a close range finish after he hasn't been credited with the assist, I don't think. But Kabamba with I think a decent assist from what I remember. But
he's been the most impactful sub in the EFL this season.
Yes.
I haven't checked any stats there. It just feels like it to me. Because you've got Michael Cheek, and you might not think you need much else. But sometimes when Cheeky's not being so cheeky, you just bring on Kabamba. And I feel like he has big impact more often than not.
Yeah. I mean, this season, Kabamba has scored 10 goals in 867 minutes. So that is...
Wow.
Rapid.
Maybe I could start a game, Gaffer.
So
don't worry about that.
He started 7, featured in 30 games. Yeah, mad. An amazing impact sub to have. And, him and Cheek between them, 33 years old and 34 years old, 77 across the two. So there you go.
Maths.
Yeah, thank you.
Notts have got some good strikers as well, but they're missing Alessandro Jata for this one. And they still won at home to Barrow by 2-1. Their 6th win in a row. Barrow have lost 5 games in a row. So Notts have turned into something of a winning machine. Now, what does a winning machine generally look like at this level? Repeatable performances, good balance between attack and defence, plenty of quality. They've got all of that. Defensively, Martin Patterson made the team so much better from the moment he arrived. The attacking performances have taken a little bit longer to come to the surface, but now they are a big threat in every game. They're scoring goals. Quality, individual quality, of course they've got that. Jody Jones is coming to the boil in recent weeks. Jata's scoring run is brilliant, scuppered by injury now, but Robertson back in midfield, really, really strong. The back three, very, very solid. And James Belshaw joins his boyhood club in January from the bottom club Harrogate and wins his first 6 games in a Notts shirt. And a bit of luck as well. That's what you need. Their first goal was very lucky. Massive, massive OG. Just a huge deflection of a shot that was going miles wide puts them ahead. And Barrow equalised. Very impressive goal it was too. Really nice equaliser, playing through the thirds, getting the cutback and a banging finish too. But wasn't enough. Notts pressure told. Matthew Dennis bundling home a Scott Robertson sort of slice shot. And they missed a couple of chances after that to extend their lead. They were almost made to pay. Jacob Badeau with a huge block on the line in the 89th minute. That's the last thing that you need. You need defenders making big blocks, keepers making big saves. At this level, there's not that much between the teams. You rarely get pure dominant sides who dominate for 90 minutes at a time. You're always going to come up against it. And you need people like Badeau doing stuff like that to get over the line. It's all set up beautifully. Next Saturday at Bromley. First versus second. 5 points between Bromley and Notts. If Bromley win that, they are cantering, surely, to promotion and maybe to the league title. If Notts win that, it all gets very, very interesting because other teams are winning too. Swindon, 3. Oldham, 0. 3 wins in a row for Swindon. Terrific response to a tough run that they had in January. James Scanlon. Who's he, I hear you ask? One of their new signings.
Scannelloni.
On loan. Yeah, he's Lionel Scaloni's son. He just changed his name to fit in at Manchester United, where he's on loan from. He scored his first goal. Fletcher Holman, another January addition, another youngster, big burly lad up top. Looks like a great addition. He got the second goal. And then Junior Hoylett, the Junior Hoylett, plays for Swindon Town. Where's he been? He went back to MLS for a bit, and then he played for Hibs and Aberdeen, and now he plays for Swindon. Of course he does, with Holloway as manager, setting up Aaron Drinan with the outside of his foot assist. Oozed class by all accounts from the moment he stepped onto the pitch. And I guess, trying to get into the Canada squad for the World Cup, I suppose, because he's been in and out in the last year or so, but wouldn't that be nice for him to be part of a World Cup as a host nation? Aaron Drinan, we can do some Drinan stats, can't we? This one from NTT20.com's Weekend Notes. He had 37 career goals before this season. He's got 24 in 31 appearances in all comps. So currently 39% of his total career goals have come in this campaign. He looks like scoring in every game. Speed, powerful running, and the finishing to boot. Also playing in this game, Ola Kigbe, Borland, Batty, Middlemass. I don't understand how Swindon have so many players and how they keep buying so many players, but I love it. They're just spawning new players left, right, and centre, and they all seem to slot in very nicely as well. It's credit to Holloway. He certainly is being backed by his owners. I think that's fair to say, or his owner. But Swindon have used 35 league players, or players in the league this season, which normally the teams at the top of that stat are the ones having like the worst season. They're just chopping and changing, desperately trying to find something that works. Swindon making it work with a massive squad, dealing with injuries by just spawning new players. A lot of youngsters coming in and doing well. Your Junior Hoylets as well, for good measure. Connor Ripley making a penalty save here against his old club for a 3-0 win. So good day for Swindon, good day for MK Dons, not a million miles away in Cheltenham. 3-2 winners.
Yes, 3-2 winners here, and pretty good value for it too. They went close. I felt bad for Jonathan Tompkinson, who early in the first half played a back pass that was seized upon, and MK Dons failed to finish after a heavy first touch from Aaron Collins. Curtis Nelson then put MK Dons 1-0 up, and then 5 minutes later, Jonathan Tompkinson turned around and played a back pass that was under hit, and this time Callum Patterson wasn't quite as kind to him.
So you're definitely not from the Gordon Ramsay school of management, because you've said you felt sorry for Jonathan Tompkinson for
felt sorry for him.
I think if he made one error and it was capitalised on, I'd feel sorry for him.
I feel more sorry for him.
I think doing it a second time, well, that's, I'm afraid, in footballing terms, that is just thick.
We're all humans. Yeah?
Yeah.
From a human level, obviously, as a player, it was bad play.
Yeah, bad play.
I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, Jonathan Tompkinson was bad.
It's just, I don't hear you say you feel bad for everyone that does something bad on a football pitch. The pod would be so long if you did.
Yeah. Well, this was quite stark, and I thought it would make for good audio content. So there you go, and it has. So I was right.
Bingo.
Jake Bickerstaff scored from range to make it 2-1 after Cheltenham, hadn't done much in the first half, which wasn't a huge surprise. Akpateta scored MK Dons' third, before Isaac Hutchinson reminded Cheltenham Town fans after his return of what a good player he is, cutting in from the left-hand side and bending one into the top right to make it a little bit nervy for MK, but not overly. Just a really good game, really. Cheltenham, are always going to be up against a team of this kind of quality, and MK gave a decent enough account of themselves and scored 2 very well-taken goals and 2 very good goals. But MK created loads. It was 19 shots. It was 9 on target. It was 3.5 XG. It was good from set pieces. It was good from open play. And again,
they looked very muscly.
Yeah, they've
a lot
been
of muscle.
It's interesting to note now with MK, going back to January the 17th, where they beat Accrington 2-0. They then beat Shrewsbury 5-1. They then beat Bristol Rovers 1-0. They then drew tour with Grimsby in a game where they were 2-0 up with 25 minutes or so to go and conceded twice. And now they've beaten Cheltenham 3-2. So like, it's looking pretty ominous. The next two games are against Newport and against Crawley, who are currently two of the bottom 3 or 4 teams in the whole league. They are on 54 points, so they're 8 points shy of Bromley on top spot. At this stage now, I would be very, very surprised if MK don't finish in one of those top three positions. It feels like, dare I say it, it's kind of going the way that we said it would do in the 1-24s, where there'd be like some teething issues, some good form and some bad form early on, and then Warren would get his real teeth into this side, and then they go on a run between now and the end of the season.
Teething issues, and then he gets his teeth into them. Very tooth-based.
Yeah.
Yes, when my daughter has teething issues, I give her Calpol. When MK Dons had teething issues, they gave him Ben Wiles and Curtis Nelson, and that has had a very similar effect. This week's Sky Bet surprise in the EFL: Harrogate 2, Cambridge 1. This genuinely, I think, could be the game, the Sky Bet surprise this season that best reflects why these leagues are just incomparable. Harrogate Town had not won in 20 league games, almost half an entire season, over 4 months. They had lost all 10 of their home games in that time. Cambridge came into this unbeaten in 14 league games, the longest unbeaten run by any EFL team this season. They had won 4 and drawn 2 of their last 6 away from home. So Harrogate obviously won this game by 2-1 at a price of 11-2 with Sky Bet. How did they do it? 8 minutes in, first shot of the whole game, just months of frustration taken out in one strike from range. Bryn Morris 1-0 right into the corner. A long time still to play. 25 minutes in, some real football breaks out at Harrogate for the first time in a long time. Fluid football, attacking football, the ball on the floor from centre-back to outside centre-back, progressive pass into the number 10, rolling across, 2 good runs from the central strikers creates the space for the wide man, the extra man, Emerson Sutton, with a classy finish into the top corner. Just a brilliant goal, the type of goal that a team that hasn't won in 20 games doesn't normally score. Cambridge pull one back before half-time, and you're thinking that's a lot of pressure for Harrogate to handle, a team that haven't won for 20 league games for 4 months, destined to fold surely, but they didn't. Defended their box well, got their blocks in, managed the game surprisingly well, and won, finally. And Simon Weaver's been really upbeat in the last few weeks. He's enjoyed some of the additions that have come into the building in January, some coming back from injury as well. He still believes, even when a lot of fans have seemingly lost their belief, that Harrogate can stay up. 2 points. That's the gap to safety now. 2 points. Suddenly, the mentality shifts. Suddenly, the scenario is different. They are chasing now. Can a team that fails to win 20 games in a row and loses 10 home games in a row go on to survive? Well, in League 2, in the EFL, absolutely yes. NTT20.com's Weekend Notes wrote that this was the unstoppable force being beaten by the immovable object. And it was brilliant. On the pod, we just call it the Sky Bet surprise at Harrogate Town's 2-1 win at home to Cambridge. Thursday night football in League 2 was Aki against Salford, played in some absolutely remarkable conditions, this one.
And with a brilliant goal to win it. A sensational volley after a bouncing ball volley, not in the full. Mm-hmm. From Alex Henderson after just 4 minutes, a brilliant strike. And as you'd expect from there, it was quite a good game this. I mean, Salford are a side that generally playing good games, and it was pretty end-to-end. And both teams had really good opportunities after that. Carl Robinson, I'm sure, will feel like Salford should have taken a couple of theirs, maybe the best falling to Dan Udo late on, which was saved, and then Cole Stockton followed up with the rebound and fired it wide from close range. Maybe their best opportunities. And, Salford, after that incredible unbeaten run, there was the good 2-0 win away at Tranmere in between, but a couple of 1-0 defeats against Chesterfield at home and Accrington away are quite damaging, and has seen them tumble from 2nd to 6th. It just shows how ridiculously tight it is at the top of League 2. In the Chesterfield game that we went to, I kind of mentioned to you afterwards, I can't remember if I said it on the pod, how it felt to me like they kind of gave back quite a lot of the initiative late in the game by keeping Udo and Graydon, their 2 strikers, on the pitch for 90 minutes. And I felt like towards the end, they looked pretty knackered to me. And it was interesting to note that they both played 90 minutes against Tranmere. They both played 90 minutes here against Accrington on the Thursday night. And that was despite Stockton coming on, despite Barini coming on, despite Abashaman coming on. So
watching the end of that game was very much like put on all the strikers and try and just kick it long to them and hope that one of them scores. It was not a very impressive way to chase a game, with the caveat that the conditions made it almost impossible to string two passes together anyway. So I sort of understand the approach.
Worked, but I'm definitely someone who thinks that managing strikers' minutes is incredibly important. Like, these are players you need to keep fresh, and rotating them is going to be crucial to their output. Like, Ryan Graydon has played 6 consecutive 90 minutes since the 17th of January. Like, that's absolutely wild. So
I'm exhausted.
From the 17th of January to the 5th of February, he's played 6 90s. Dan Udo has played 4 90s since the 24th until the 5th of Feb consecutively too. Like, it's not like they're short of attacking options. And I do wonder if their output is kind of dipping because they're understandably quite tired. Udo was in a brilliant run of form heading into that run of games and has really tailed off in the last couple of weeks. So something to monitor there. I don't know if understandably, it does feel like Graydon and Udo are their 2 quality options there, and it feels like maybe Robinson doesn't rate Stockton nearly as highly as those 2. But either way, just a continuing theme is Accrington's overperformance and then proving to be quite a frustrating opponent for some of the better teams in the league to play against. And this was another really, really good win for them, who are quietly having one of kind of the biggest overachieving seasons of anyone in the EFL. They're in 13th. They're on 43 points. They're just 6 points off the playoffs.
Walsall 1, Barnet 3. Barnet just rocked up to Walsall, just off the motorway. Just completely played them off the park. Yeah, I mean, it's the passing side of things that really blew my mind here. Like, I'll talk about the game in a second because they were much better and they got the deserved win. They attempted 778 passes in this game, Barnet, which, like, to put that into context, like, Manchester City will do that once or twice in a season. At League 2 level, away from home, against 11 men, when you've been ahead since the 41st minute and then not squandered a lead. So game state is not in the favour of, generally the highest passing numbers for a team will make in a game is normally ball dominant teams when they spend a lot of the game behind or against 10 men. That is wild. And I think, I know that normally my obsession with League 2 passing stats probably is when a lot of people scrub, but there is an element here which is quite important, which is that Walsall fans have had enough of basically everything at their club. They've had enough of Matt Sadler, the manager, which, I as a neutral find quite hard to support given the job that he did last season. And I know that is in part why they've lost the faith in him, because I think there is a perception where as a football club, when you hit a certain position, that then becomes the bare minimum of where you should be. And then underachieving from there is seen as not being good enough. And it's forgotten where the club were before that happened. But particularly Trivella, who are the ownership group, part of a multi-club ownership group, and Walsall fans have basically had enough. And the sound of the boos, I can't really think of anything like this before. It was almost like a premeditated boo, where it was like, as soon as we go behind, we all need to boo as loudly as we can. So when Adam Senior prodded home from close range before half-time, immediately there was just a chorus of like loud, vociferous booing to show how frustrated and upset Walsall fans were by this. It was compounded further with Idris Kanu scoring a well-taken goal, a good finish into the top right-hand corner to make it 2-0. Walsall's very own Daniel Kanu got one back to make it 2-1. Great to see 2 Kanus on
couple
the score
of Kanus,
sheet.
yeah.
What's next? Will Towards?
And then Tishmanga made it 3-1 to Barnet. And it was what Barnet deserved in the game. But there is, there is a big part of this where, throwing away last season, throwing away good positions is part of Walsall's frustration. But there's also the style of play and the lack of entertainment factor. And I think as a club who feel like they are fighting or scrapping to ensure there's something to play for the rest of the season, to basically let the opposition play in that way, especially once, there's a quote doing the rounds on social media of Trivella a couple of years ago basically saying that they would let the football do the talking in terms of the way they wanted to play, being a front foot team or whatever else. I can understand why, given the success that Sadler had last season, why they would stick to that blueprint and that game model. But the fans don't want to see it and the fans don't like it. So yeah, Walsall feel like a club at the moment that are soul searching a bit, and having been a staunch supporter, and I would definitely still argue Sadler's case to a neutral, it feels like things are coming towards breaking point between him and the club at the moment, and the ownership group too.
Yeah, 7th at the moment, but sliding. I think they might have been top on New Year's Day, just a point above Chesterfield in 8th. They have been in the top 7 of League Two for 71 of the last 75 game weeks, per Hugh Davis, which obviously comes with a lot of frustration that hasn't translated into a promotion, obviously, last season. But certainly compared to their wage bill, like, it is objectively a massive overachievement. But yeah, really interesting scenario. I think from a Barnet point of view, really impressive. Their form recently has been very impressive, which will come to no surprise to anyone that enjoys underlying numbers, and which suggests that they've been really good side in many ways so far this season, just maybe not necessarily in both boxes, but that seems to have improved. Shamanga's made a big difference, scoring a lot of goals. I think Adam Senior might be one of the most interesting players ever. One of the most, genuinely possibly, one of the most interesting tactical roles, certainly in the EFL. Like, Senior's played 5 different positions this season for more than 200 minutes, which is incredibly rare. All of them are defensive positions nominally, either left back, right back, centre back in a 3, centre back in a 2, right wing back. But he's basically an attacker. Like, Adam Senior is basically an attacker, and he is one of the most impressive penalty box finishers that I've seen this season. He takes 2 shots a game, 0.2 XG per 90 for a defender is pretty mental, especially because these aren't just set piece goals like Omar showed me. Over half of them come from regular play. He scored 6 goals. He's hit the bar 3 times. This goal from open play, when he starts nominally as a left back, but he finishes off a cutback on the penalty spot, just sums him up. He takes up such interesting positions. And it's really, really effective, because if you're the right winger, Adam Senior is your opposite man. You're not expecting to be defending essentially 10 yards out the centre of your box from a ball from the other side. So really, really tough for opposition defences to handle. Chesterfield won 3-2 at Bristol Rovers. A bit of a back and forth game. Tom Naylor with a back post header for Chesterfield to put them ahead. So far, so normal. Shaq Ford with a back post header. Obviously not normal for Shaq Ford, because he ran off patting his head, which is the universal side
so I do have to score a header.
I don't score many headers, and I'm very happy. 1-1 at half-time. Teams kept kind of trading chances. Shaq Ford put Rovers ahead, looks suspiciously offside from my admittedly poor angle on camera 1. Would Rovers hold out for 3 wins in a row? No.
Nope.
Lost it, in fact. Tom Naylor started an attack, trotted forward, headed home across from Sam Curtis, the right back. Really nice looping header from Tom Naylor. Mandeville had a chance for Chesterfield. Mola had a chance for Bristol Rovers. And then it was Curtis with another cross, and James Berry with a really nice kind of acrobatic, improvised, volleyed finish into the far corner to win it for Chesterfield, making the most of the squad that they have and the business they were able to do in January, where Curtis has come in at right back. They already had 2 or 3 right-back options, but a lot of them were struggling for consistency and fitness. Curtis has come in, provided consistency and fitness and quality, has kind of set up that winner at Salford and essentially set up the 2 goals that won them this one. So he's doing really well, the loanee from Sheffield United. They went 5 without a win in January, Chesterfield, but it's now 2 wins in 3. The Salford win, this one, and the Walsall game when they were 2-0 up at home and then threw it away and drew 2-2. So had they held out there, they'd currently be in the playoff places, but we won't be surprised if they do make it in at some point over the next few weeks. George Collier 2, Shrewsbury 0.
What was the arm thing for?
Well, I'm leading on to you.
Right. Will Goodwin scored. He's had
that's nice.
As is always the way with Will Goodwin, he's had a tough time with injury this season, but started here. Some really good work down the left-hand side from Rob Hunt, who, KB was trying to see the ball out of play. Hunt picked his pocket, crossed it in, and there was Goodwin at the near post to finish home. He ran off into the corner to celebrate. The Colchester mascot tried to celebrate with him, and he didn't look like he was having it at all. Well, he just looked like he was like, sorry, you're not the person I want to celebrate with here.
They need him at the moment. And Bick out injured.
The mascot? Oh, right.
No.
Okay.
And Bick out injured. I'm not 100% clear when he's going to return, but he's so young that when he does return, let's not expect him to go straight back in at the same level as before. So it's important few months for Will Goodwin, I think.
Yeah. And then Arthur Reed with the best goal or the best strike of the weekend, in my view. Just a wondrous left-footed strike that flew into the top right-hand corner. From 2-0 down, Shrewsbury did a few chances from set pieces, a few long shots from range. I wouldn't say that there was loads in this game that we saw what Cowan's Shrewsbury looked like that was overly different to previously, but going away from home against Colchester, one of the form teams in the league, isn't a particularly easy first assignment, and they will have bigger, more important days in order to try and secure their top flight position, starting with Tuesday night where they host Barrow, which feels like a huge opportunity for them because their home form has been pretty good for the most part. So,
Absolute non-entity away from home, though. 3 points from their last 11 away games. No goals yet in 2 games under the new manager. George, if I say to you, Tiger Woods, 2-iron, stinger trajectory, that's Arthur Reed's strike.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Hit it well.
Crawley 0, Crewe 1. Crewe Alex hanging around, possibly even steadying themselves for a playoff tilt. First thing you notice watching the highlights of this one is that Monday pod last week talked about QPR Coventry, talked about QPR doing something I'd not seen before, or certainly not for a while, leaving 3 attacking players up for Coventry corners. It was quite jarring. It meant that Coventry sent players running back from their own attacking set piece to guard against a counter-attack, and it worked kind of well for QPR, and it talked about it being an interesting technique that, lots of attacking set pieces techniques being talked about recently as being effective. Here's a kind of antidote to it, if you like. Then we saw Chelsea do it against Arsenal in the Cup in midweek, so that got even more coverage. These highlights start with a Crewe corner, where just as the corner's being taken, you see 2 Crewe players sprinting back to halfway because they've been called back by the manager to counteract, I presume, Crawley attackers on halfway. So that is something that we flagged nice and early on the pod, that because copycatting is such a big thing in football, and even more so when it comes to set pieces, we'll probably see that quite a lot. Orsi had a goal disallowed for Crewe, kind of controlled it over the line with his arm, possibly offside as well. Scott Lindsay wasn't very happy about this one, but I don't really see the problem. And Tommy O'Reilly with a brilliant volley to win it, a goal fit to win any game. And what a great player, having a great loan, Tommy O'Reilly. 13 goals and assists this season for Crewe has been huge, particularly with someone like Lancaster, who I predicted to have quite a big season. He's been out injured for almost all of it. It was a nice assist from Reece Hutchinson, but also a good play in the build-up from Adrien Thibault, who's a young striker who's been involved in some of their goals recently for Crewe, young attacker. It'd be good to see him get a run of games and see what he's about inside the box as well. A little tweak from Lee Bell here, little additional centre-back, big additional centre-back actually, James Connolly joining Demetriou and Pond. And Crewe just did a great job out of possession, kept Crawley at bay for the most part, made the most of their counter-attacks to score the winner. Just a solid away win this. And Gills, at home to Tranmere, winning by 2-1, prompted Tranmere fan on NTT20 squad Jacques Girard to say, "We've lost 9 of our last 11 and there are still 7 teams below us somehow."
I don't understand. I feel like at some point during the night, someone went into this league table and gave Tranmere 10 more points. And no one noticed.
Someone's been tweaking the...
Because I agree, and it's good to hear a Tranmere fan saying that, because it means it's not disrespectful when we say it, but it does feel like Tranmere lose a lot of games.
Yeah.
And they're fine.
It's like the film Matilda. Her dad changes the mileage meter on cars. He's trying to sell him.
Who pays her dad?
That guy. What's he called?
Danny
DeVito.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't really get that.
Isn't he the new prospective Tranmere owner? No, that's ASAP Rocky.
You're from the Michael Owen film school.
Don't like him.
Gillingham, yes, they've got a new goal-scoring hero. Should say the old one, Sam Vokesney, has got a sumptuous chip early on in this game that just went over the bar. But Ronan Hale, who's come in from Ross County, normally a striker, playing kind of off the left-hand side for Gills because Vokes is leading the line, scored twice. The first with a kind of spinning finish from a corner. The second, a header from a corner, which, looking back at his previous record, he doesn't take many headed shots, let alone score any, for a quite small player. But yeah, 2 goals from Hale. Whittaker scored a lovely finish, as he often does, to make it 2-1. But Gills, good value for the win. Tranmere weren't terrible here, had chances themselves. Morosi in goal is the 4th player who started in goal for Tranmere this season, I saw. But it was Morris who made the saves, I guess, for the winning team to ensure that Gills went home with all 3 points.
Yeah, and Newport 0, Grimsby 0 was a match that happened in which both teams had a penalty saved. So shout out Jackson Smith in goal for Grimsby and Jordan Wright in goal for Newport. for keeping Opoku and Charles Vernon at bay. There's quite a lot of other incident in the game as well, but finishes 0-0. Now, I think a lot of people listening will know about Newport County's away kit, which is a crossover kit with Athletic Club. Some very nice historical links with Newport and the Basque region, and that's lovely. Not many people talking about Grimsby's away kit, which to me is a clear homage to the great Bologna side of the 1930s.
I think we all knew that, didn't we?
So I don't know if there's some sort of link there between, spaghetti alla ragu and fish and chips, but we need to look into that.
Definitely don't want to mix those two, I don't think.
I've not seen much talked about fusion food. That thank you for listening and or watching. Let us know what you think about the show. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, on Spotify as well, and more of this for League One and the Championship wherever you found this episode. Cheers and go well.